This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Oh, what's your opinion on Alvin Kamara's trade to the Fins? Seriously, Ramona. Seriously. Come on. It's silliness. Okay? All right? I love you, Ramona, but you come up with these wacky things and you follow all the other fans that are just, Dolphin fans want to buy everything. This team will only make that kind of trade when they are that player away from the Super Bowl. Okay? I think I've repeated this over and over again with different players. What was the other player that came up? That, it's a silly-ass trade. Anybody that brought it up, it's silly, it's a waste of time, it's stupidity. They just traded for Breida. They just signed Howard. They're set at running back. They're not going to add Alvin Kamara. They're not going to trade a pick or picks and give him a ginormous contract for a team that is nowhere near a Super Bowl. Okay? Again, ladies and gentlemen, they're not trading for a shutdown corner, a number one wide receiver, a number one tackle, a number one running back. They're not trading for anything like that unless they're that player away from a Super Bowl. There was another player a week or two ago, another name that came up. That was another young guy that wants a big deal, and people brought it up, and I told them that it was stupidity and it was a waste. Does anybody remember? Oh, Fournette too. Yeah, that's another one. But that's a moron. You know what I mean? Now you're going to – Alvin Kamara is a good dude. I mean, Fournette's a turd. Why do you want – that's the other thing. It's like I don't understand some Dolphins out there. Let's bring on everybody else's headache. We're straightening out a culture here. We're trying to weed out the losers, and you want to bring a loser on. I think Flo proves over and over and over again that he wants nothing to do with losers. He doesn't want guys that don't want to work. He doesn't want guys that aren't committed to the team. You know what I mean? And as a franchise, they're not making moves for players that they have to trade for and then also spend a boatload of money. Think about all of that. It doesn't make any sense. It's an incredibly stupid move to trade for Alvin Kamara. Okay? Now, if you're Alvin Kamara away from winning a Super Bowl, if you're Marino and this is 92, you trade for Alvin Kamara. Okay? But this team, they don't even have an offensive line yet set in place. They don't have their linebackers settled. They don't have their D-line settled. They haven't even proven that they can run the ball. And you're going to bring Alvin Kamara, you're going to sign him to a contract. You're going to trade picks, and then you're going to play him behind a line that's trying to figure out its way so he takes a beating? Just do the math. It's the problem is, as much as I love fantasy football, I almost feel like it's polluted the minds of football fans. And they think this is a freaking joke. And they think that it's, you could just slide any piece in at any time and that it makes a lot of sense. And you just throw names out. Writers write this stuff. Oh, let's trade for Alvin Kamara. And then the TV heads are, hey, let's trade for Alvin Kamara. And then the radio guys are, hey, what about a trade for Alvin Kamara? And then the fans then start. And nobody thinks about where the team is at, the consequences. Is it really a good move at this point in time for the Dolphins? When you really think about it, It's not. It's not a good move for the Dolphins. The Jets are a terrible team. Did it make sense to bring on Le'Veon Bell when they didn't have an offensive line? Tell me how has that worked out for 2 years now? You know, we got to have common sense, not smoke the sense. Yeah. It's like, think. Fournette, think. Turd. Flores doesn't like turds. He got rid of Minka Fitzpatrick, and he's not a turd, but he was acting like a punk. And he got rid of him. So he's going to bring in a guy that's always injured and is a turd? It's like, think, man. Think. Think about everything and then open your mouth. You know what I mean? That's the problem. It's a tool puts it out, tools continue to follow it, and nobody thinks about the move. Does it make sense? No. You know what I mean? It's like when they made the Ndamukong Suh move. It didn't make sense. And that's exactly what I said, because Mike Tannenbaum doesn't know what makes sense, because he's not a good football person. And the fact that a big mouth radio guy is better than Mike Tannenbaum at it, it's embarrassing. Think. That's the problem in the Dolphin organization for 20 years. They never were thinking. These guys, give them a little more credit. Okay? They don't make those kind of moves. So now you know what I think about it. I think the Dolphins would be open for trading Rosen for a player of need, but not a draft pick. Rosen reminds me of Don Strock. Radically, they're going to trade Rosen when it makes sense for them. That's it. And now all they're doing is just checking it out. Let's see. Ramona chimed in. Matt Breida is a good runner, but not an every down guy. He's not here for every down. He comes from New England. How many people do every down now? Think. Very few now. Henry, you know, there's very little this every down crap. It's a committee thing now.
McCaffrey, Saquon. Is that it?
Yeah, there's not a lot. It's mostly committee. Usually you have two guys or three that are running the ball.
Even Kamara in New England had, the Saints had, a guy
Smith.
that went to
He went to
Ravens
in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Smith. So, yeah. What's it called? Let's see. Okay, why did they sign cornerback Byron Jones, knowing they have because they needed two? That's why. They need two corners. So they got two guys. They got Jones, opposite of X. That way they have two corners. And then they drafted Noah. So that way, if the X thing continues, either with injuries or off the field, they replace him. If not, Noah becomes the third guy. You need three corners, Ramona. That's why. You already have your running backs in Breida and Howard. And in this league,
as pass happy as this league is, to have a lockdown corner, that guy to take away a one or a two, there is no position on defense that frees you up to do what you want, like a guy that goes, I got you for the whole play.
And it doesn't pay off to pay running backs. Okay? Look what happened with the Todd Gurley deal. Look what happened with Devonta Freeman. It's just stupid to trade high picks for a guy and give him a big-ass salary. You're better off drafting a really good running back. Listen to me. First round if you want, late first round, whatever. Great back. Let's say you drafted Dobbins. Run his ass into the ground for 5 years. Tag him for a 6, then let him go and draft another guy. That's what you should do in this league.
That's some heartless, man. You know, you know what I'm saying?
Are we going to run things the right way, or are we going to run things the right way?
It's a business, man. No, bro. You got the most important thing is to spend your money right. Yeah. No doubt.
I don't want to pick up Alvin Kamara after he's been, run to the ground by New Orleans. I don't need that. And then I got to also pay picks and money. Think, man. Think. It doesn't make sense at all. At all. After months of attempts, your phone lines are busy again today. One day I will get through and I will never be hungry again. Gus 1388 says, hey, when are we signing Clowney? LOL. But, the Clowney thing, at least you're not trading for him. If you pay him for a 1-year thing, and that's it. That's what they would have done with him. That's what they offered him. They weren't going to really tie themselves to a long-term because they didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? But with Kamara, it's a long-term thing you have to tie because you have to trade picks and give him a fat-ass contract. At least with Clowney, I'm not the biggest Clowney, supporter or anything like that because he's never really been the great sack guy that he was supposed to turn out to. It just never happened because of that knee. But at least that I can make a case where you bring him for a 1-year deal. But some of these other ones, come on, man, it just doesn't make any sense. Just think about it. You know what I mean?
If Clowney didn't have an inflated opinion of himself, we'd probably already have him because if the number was right, he'd be here right now, right?
Yeah, McLean says, Big O, remember Shula last year where he loaded up with high-price stiffs? Yeah, 19 first-round free agents. And then the Raiders did it a couple of years after that with 21 first-round picks. Yeah, I remember that. And they both failed. That's why I told you yesterday the Fournette thing to Tampa reminds me a lot of Miami at the end of Shula and then what the Raiders did a couple of years after that. And both failed miserably. Oh, well, I had this guy. He's a former first-rounder. He's a former first-rounder. He's a former first-rounder. And then along with the first-rounders you had 19 of them. And, the Dolphins have 19 former first-round picks. When you're a first-round bust or a first-round pain in the ass or a first-round lazy ass or whatever, it ain't going to change. And it didn't change. You know what I mean? Big O, someday Dolphins, not patient. They quick fix. Win a Super Bowl right now. I like you. You're very patient. Build the franchise the right way. Build it up successfully. Exactly. That's the idea. Build it up nice and slow. The problem is we've sucked for so long, everybody wants to turn this thing around next year, and it's not going to happen. We have to be patient.